more.
It was on a scooter too.
Was it on a scooter?
Poser.
Oh.
Yeah, it was on Jacob's little scooter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this place used to be cool. Welcome back to another episode of The Brave and the Bold with Rain Bella and Raul Garza. And today we have a special guest here, the one and only Tim Barron.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here.
Yeah. Sorry, that's our. Thank you. Yes, Tim Barron, everybody.
Tim Barron.
Yeah. That was our theme song, actually. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it give you like a Gotham kind of vibe here?
I dug it.
With
I
a little,
was in the moment there.
little urban.
I like
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I like
You
it.
might have to get a little bit closer.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a little better.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
a
little
bit better.
And then also, am I looking at you guys when I'm answering questions?
Yeah. You can.
Yeah.
You can look
Okay.
at us, and you can also take a look, peep at the camera sometimes.
take a peek
at the
If you wanna
Yeah.
like give them a little wink or whatever, you know,
Got it.
let them know that you're here. But Tim Barron, thank you so much for joining us on the episode today. It's awesome to have you here at the warehouse.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me, and thanks for the tour. It's really cool to see. I've driven past you guys a bazillion times, and I even got pulled over by a cop yesterday, right in front. I think maybe he was lurking behind your building.
Oh my gosh.
But he let me off with a warning.
Yeah.
So, shout out to that guy.
It's because you were right in front of our building. He was like, you know them, huh?
Secret handshake. The
Yeah.
secret lunar
Yeah. Monsieur the lunar handshake. That's funny. No, it's crazy that this is right here in the backyard of Fort Wayne, Indiana. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely, man.
I mean, you're an Indiana resident, right?
Yeah, Fort Wayne. Yep.
Have you
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Born and raised, and that you are doing so good, man. We've seen the stuff that you've been doing. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a huge fan of your stuff.
Yeah.
It's really
you
cool
guys.
getting to meet you. So.
Yeah, well, I'm stoked you guys had me here.
Yeah,
so
he's
thank
trying not to fangirl out here. Yeah, yeah, but no, it's really awesome. You know, because like a lot of people don't know that like we have people coming out of Fort Wayne and doing awesome things.
Yeah.
And you're definitely one of them. Like I mean, you've
Thanks.
done a lot of amazing stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done even a collab with the Raise skateboarding store.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Rise.
Rise.
Sorry, he's the skateboard guy. I'm more just the comic guy. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But what was that like?
The Rise.
Yeah.
Well, the original owner, Nick Weaver, I met him in 1990.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And so I've known that guy for a super long time.
Yeah.
And then we did a couple collabs about 10 years ago. I did the first ever skateboards I ever illustrated. I did for Nick and Rise. And then it was 2 years ago, we had an idea for another board graphic. And it was one of those things where the image is just so there already. It just draws itself.
Right.
And we did like just like a street scene of Spy Run, which is the street that Rise is on.
Yeah.
And I had the whole thing. I went there and I took photo references, and the thing just practically drew itself. It was, And then we had it all, and then he was like, "It's missing something," and I was like, "You're right." He was like, "Draw a skateboarder skating down the middle of the street," and I was like, "Yes, that's it."
Yeah.
Of course.
So I absolutely, it's one of my all-time favorite graphics I've ever done, and I think
That's
part
cool.
of it's got that
Yeah.
hometown
Yeah.
pride and whatnot.
Heck yeah. Well, we love a local boy. You know, we love it to see it here and everything. And you went to school here, so you went to Concordia, right?
Yeah, I graduated long time ago.
Oh man. But what was that like growing up here and and telling us a little bit about your childhood, you know, and how it led you to where you are right now.
Yeah, I had a super great childhood, great parents, and I could say that my childhood was just filled with every geeky thing that all of us enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was an 80s kid, and so Transformers, GoBots,
Nice.
G.I. Joe, He-Man, like I grew up, you know,
at the
the
peak
dawn
of
of those things. Yeah.
pop culture, honestly.
Star Wars.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so, yeah. And, so like my parents, like they would buy me all the toys, dude, you know,
That's awesome.
like Dinobots for Christmas. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I watched watching cartoons from the earliest age. Like I used to watch the Bozo show on WGN, the Chicago channel. And they would show like Superman and Batman cartoons on there. And I remember like,
bread and butter.
Yeah, man. And so I would draw I would draw the picture. That's where I first started drawing superheroes.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
nice.
So you got a lot of your inspiration from what you saw on TV and everything.
Absolutely.
The pop culture was a huge influence to you, huh?
Huge.
Oh,
And then,
for sure.
And then when I got a little bit older, I'd go to the grocery store with my mom.
Yeah.
And while she would shop for groceries, I would stand there, once upon a time when there was a comic book spinner rack in grocery stores, and I would look at every single comic book that was on those, and like those images, especially like the early Bill Sienkiewicz covers for like Moon Knight and New Mutants. Like I didn't understand why that looked so different, but it was so awesome. Like I didn't understand why it didn't look like the other, but it's Bill Sienkiewicz. I know now.
Right.
And so that's where my love for comics was originally birthed. I still remember some of the very first comic books I had as a kid, probably under 5 years old. Yeah.
What were they?
I had an issue. Yep, I had an issue of Green Lantern where Star Sapphire is just punking him. I think it was like from like 1980, 1979, but I think she's got like she's standing over him and is like pointing at him, and then there is some Star Wars comics. Of course, I was a huge Star Wars fan, so I had some of those early issues of Star Wars, and then ironically, I think I had some of like the World's Finest. I was thinking they were called Brave and the Bold. They were the early, back in the 60s and 70s when they were called Brave and the Bold, weren't they?
I believe so. Yeah. But then World Finance was usually a Superman and Batman collab.
Yes, I had lots of those because I loved Superman, Batman.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I had like hives or something when I was really little, and I went to the hospital.
Oh no!
And I was fine.
Okay. Thank God he made it.
But I got this issue of, my mom bought me this issue of Amazing Spider-Man, and I couldn't even tell you what issue it was, but he fights Electro.
Yeah.
And it has the dopest cover of. And I still got that issue. I still got it bagged and ordered.
Yeah.
And so, like the Transformers #1 and that stuff. I just ate it up. All the G.I. Joe comics and man.
It's really cool. We have a lot of those, like Transformers and G.I. Joes. We have a lot of those reprintings of the original ones. So
I saw that they started doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really cool for us, like seeing like the originals come through. Like, oh man, like, not the originals, but like this is what they used to look like and everything back then. Yeah, and they even have the inside of it still like the old newspaper material.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's really cool.
I think we didn't talk about it because we came across a G.I. Joe omnibus.
Oh, I saw that. That's gorgeous. I saw it at Arcade
but
Comics.
It's light as heck.
Is it really?
So light.
Oh, because of the newsprint?
Because it's newspaper. Wow. So I don't know what material, they use a different material printing nowadays. Because an omnibus nowadays, it's fucking at least like 10 pounds. Like, it's something. It's hefty. Yeah. But that G.I. Joe one was like, oh.
Well, I had the very first, I remember I was in kindergarten, and I remember seeing the commercials for the G.I. Joe comic.
Nice.
And then I remember seeing the G.I. Joe #1 on the shelves, and it was like a deluxe format. Like I looked at that thing, like I stared holes through that thing. Like I read it so many times, like I think it just broke down to its basic chemical elements after a while. Like there was nothing left of it.
You burned into it.
Yeah, so I had to repurchase that recently on eBay.
No kidding.
But I still have my original copy of Transformers #1.
Right.
That's cool.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is awesome. But and then that's what you started out with your love of comics. But then also you were in the '90s as well. You grew up in the '90s, and so,
I mean, like with the rise of Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane, I started really, like I just kind of, like I always loved comics, but something tripped in my brain in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And I discovered Todd McFarlane. Like I think I saw like a copy of, Comic Scene, and it had an interview with Todd McFarlane about Venom.
Oh yeah.
And I had seen his work before, and there was just something so different about it. Like it had, you know what I'm saying? It was just, it was Todd McFarlane.
Yeah. I mean, his art is insane. Especially, I think it was like, his art was like amazing in the '90s. It was changed a lot of things, and like it brought out like this is extreme. This is where, I believe the '90s is where like the extreme came out from a lot of stuff.
For better or worse.
Yeah. I mean, we had Venom, this like overpowering Spider-Man with all those like webs everywhere. You know, that iconic like cover. It was just amazing. I mean,
the sinister grin.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
It's so good.
Yeah, so I started really, like in 6th grade, I started going to this local comic shop, Books, Comics, and Things.
Yeah.
I started going there.
Yeah.
And, 5th grade is when I first started going there. And then 6th grade, like I said, something really happened in me. I think I met a couple like cool older kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of
One of
course.
them
It's
was
always it's always some older kids that first show you. I remember I had a friend of mine who was like, "This is my buddy," and he told me in his room that a box full of comics. That's where I first saw comics too. It was a lot older kid, but he was cool about it though.
Well, my very first comic experience that I remember is my parents had these friends, and we'd go over there, and they had a teenage son, and he had those big oversized comics.
Oh,
Do you remember those?
Yeah,
like from
yeah.
those deluxe treasury editions and stuff
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that. He
I
had
think also the X-Men had a run of those too, like a giant size.
Yeah, like they would just print these comics like in this huge format.
Oh yeah.
I loved those. Those
Yeah.
are and that to me early age was absolutely magical.
Yeah.
And then, you know, childhood comics, but then like coming up in the late 80s and early 90s when I really started dialing in. And I always drew. Like drawing and art was always a passion of mine. And it was like comics really fueled that. And it was when Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns like came out for the first time.
Yeah.
And again, it was one of those things where I would see the ads in comic books and I'm like, why does Batman look so different? I don't know, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like especially I think it was the cover for number 4 where it's Batman's all beefy looking and like
Yeah, I think we
gnarly
actually
and scrunched up and it's just like the raddest thing ever. I'm like, why
this
does he
all-
look
all
like
beat
that?
up? Yeah, I know exactly. That cover is iconic. I'm gonna pop it right here.
Yeah.
that cover is iconic right there.
Yeah. And so I think that it was like certain artists' unique styles really started standing out to me about that time. Like I said, when I was really young, I would notice Bill Sienkiewicz's art and be like, wow. And then, you know, as I got a little bit older, it was Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Rob Liefeld. There was just a certain dynamic, you know, it was in who they all eventually became Image. You know?
Yeah.
And so, there was just there was sort of that certain golden period right before Image where I feel like Marvel, it seems like they had a house style. Yeah. And those Image guys broke that house style. Yeah. And did something new. And that excited me so much.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely what drew people towards them.
Yeah.
And at some point, even Image was on top of everybody else at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think Image has a lot more variety in their artwork.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like DC, I mean, it's all good, you know, but DC's got more kind of like realistic stuff most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Very tight. House style.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So I was like, and then like in high school, I was a collector like mad, and I'm gonna incriminate myself. I had like 3 copies of the first appearance of Deadpool. It was New Mutants.
New Mutants 98.
98.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 97, but Cable was 87.
Yeah.
I had that too. And I sold them like right before the year 2000. I was getting married, and I was just like, I needed money, and dude, I had 3, and they were like
good condition,
pristine.
You should have waited till 2016.
You should have waited. Hindsight, man.
Yeah.
But how did you not know Ryan Reynolds was going to make a movie?
Right.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
I know. You know what other comic really like blew my mind and that I still love? I don't even know if you've probably heard of it, but Flaming Carrot by Bob Burden.
Flaming Carrot? No, I don't think so.
Oh my gosh. You guys look up. He doesn't really do anything anymore, but it was always printed under like these very obscure like 80s and 90s short-lived companies like Renegade Press and Aardvark Vanaheim.
Yeah.
It was just a guy with a giant carrot head with a flame on top and just doing like adventures like Batman would, but he was like a giant carrot-headed guy.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and the covers still mind-blowing.
Really?
Yeah, not like Image mind-blowing.
Right here.
Yeah, definitely. Got some, but like there is such a, I don't know, something about that, and I discovered Flaming Carrot in like 6th grade, and that was so weird, surreal. I bought them all. Like, and some of the early issues were, you know, and I was like in 7th, 8th grade or whatever. So I was, you know, shelling out $14, $15 for a back issue. That's a big deal. But yeah, so that was another comic that really inspired me. And they were always printed in black and white, and Bob Burden's inks, and it's awesome. Very novel. Very unique. Yeah.
So you definitely fell in love with a person's individual, like different art style.
Absolutely.
So like, where did you find your art style?
So Yeah, and I think that's a process that develops over time.
Right.
But when I was a kid, let's see. You know, as a kid, you're just kind of drawing cool stuff
Right,
out of your brain.
Yeah.
When I started, like junior high, is when I started like looking at comic artists and kind of emulating their style. And I remember I had a skateboard. It was a Tommy Guerrero skateboard, and I drew it. We'd always draw with like paint markers on our grip tape on the top of the board back then. And I did this gnarly face, and it was 100% inspired by Todd McFarlane.
Nice.
Like it had like
Nice.
the crow's feet and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
unnecessary wrinkles. Like it was
all the lines.
all the
lines.
all the lines. But
What does it need? It needs more lines. Give it more lines.
So that was like in 6th grade. And so I think in 6th grade, that's when I really started paying attention and trying to emulate. And that's also like when I would start drawing my own comics, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's when I'd really start working on
nice.
sequential art.
Okay.
Well, no, I take that back. When I was in like 3rd grade, me and my buddy Kurt, who was as big a nerd as I was
Shout
in
out
elementary
Kurt.
school. Shout out to Kurt. We were both huge into Transformers and G.I. Joe. And we would spend hours on the phone. We'd be like, okay, look at issue 27. Look at page 8. Look at the bottom right panel.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at what Snake Eyes. You can almost see what he might look like with his mask off, like that sort of thing. You know?
Theorizing
That's
and
funny.
everything. Man,
Yeah,
deep
yeah.
diving into it.
And we would do our own Transformers comics.
Yeah.
Like all these.
What?
I know, and I've still got them.
Did you
Oh,
own?
really?
I still got
Did you
them.
own
That's
fan
cool.
stories?
Yeah, just fan stories. We'd make it
Oh,
up.
man.
Like he would draw some.
Uh-huh.
I was a little bit better artist than him. So, you know. Yeah.
Not to toot
But we
his own
both had
horn.
heart. Yeah.
All right, but
He was a
toot-
better writer. He was a better writer.
There you go.
And we would pass them back and forth. And he would do some, and then I would do
Yeah.
some.
That's
Like,
cool.
those
Yeah.
are like the humble beginnings, man.
Yeah.
That's like where, I don't know. I think those are the sort of things where like the magic starts
Right.
Yeah.
for lifelong creatives.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
those
I used to
things-
do stuff like that in elementary school.
Did you really?
I had like, the spiral notebook.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Then we'd like draw the panels on
Yeah.
it. And me and my friend, it was just stick figures, but we'd do this whole story with stick figures.
Yeah.
We actually got in trouble by the principal because
Dude,
it was
that-
too violent.
Wait, you guys had friends making these comics? I did make my own comics by myself.
That's funny, man. Yeah.
But you got in trouble?
Yeah, because it was like
It's a
it was
sign of
too
greatness,
violent.
dude.
Yeah.
It's a sign of, if you're getting in trouble for things that you're doing creatively, instinctively, I think
Yeah.
that's a sign of forthcoming greatness, if you ask me, you know.
It hasn't come yet. so.
It'll come soon enough. But so you got inspired by the pop culture,
Yeah.
to do your art and everything, but then also you got heavily into skateboarding.
Yes.
Now, where did that come from?
Okay,
So what came first?
Yeah.
Comics or
Ooh.
skateboarding?
Comics came first, definitely.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about skateboarding until I saw like Back to the Future.
Oh, really?
There was
Yeah.
that dope scene in the first movie where Marty McFly grabbed like something and used it as a skateboard.
It was
Yeah.
it was like a little scooter, and he broke off the handles.
Yes.
Yeah,
And there
yeah.
was something epic about that connected with me. And then I was over at my neighbor's house, Jason. Shout out to Jason.
Shout out Jason.
Jason.
And it's like I'd been over to his house a bazillion times growing up. He was like my best buddy. He was maybe 1 year older than me, but we both played Star Wars.
Heck yeah.
We both used to like tie his mom's red
Apron?
like towels. No,
Oh.
towels around our necks. Pretend we're Superman. Like
Oh,
it was
heck
like
yeah.
it was like
Heck
the
yeah.
perfect color red.
Oh, yeah.
And so we would always use her towels. But I was over to his house and it was probably like 5th grade, 4th grade or 5th grade. It was 5th grade.
Okay.
And like maybe fall of 5th grade, we'll say. Maybe summer of 5th grade. It was 5th grade though,
5th grade.
or right before 5th grade. Anyways, and in the back of his garage, there was this little 1970s blue Grentech freeformer skateboard with
Nice.
red wheels.
Ooh.
No grip tape. It was prior to the age of grip tape.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
No tail, no like concave tail or anything like that.
okay.
It's just like straight board.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Just one
like,
of those California cruisers.
yeah. And I was like, and it was literally, it was like copyright 1977, something
Wow.
like that. And I was like, hey, what's that? And he was like, oh, it's a skateboard. I was like, do you know how to ride it? And he was like, yeah. And so he like showed me he had a really long driveway and he like rode it up and down the driveway a couple times. And I was just like, I want to try. And
He said, "Teach me."
I was like, teach me that ways, yeah. And so I wasn't very good at it, but there was something that connected with me immediately with skateboarding. I sucked at sports. Totally sucked
We all did.
No, not everybody, but like there was some kids in the class that were really good at football and baseball.
Of course.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought, and I still think football is. You know what? And maybe there's a little bit of jealousy because I was always a little bit jealous of football guys. You know what I'm saying? They got the girls, and you know what I'm saying? Dang it, I know. So, but yeah, I still think I can't get into it, man.
You can't get into football.
Yeah.
No, never have.
So about Super Bowl comes around.
Just don't watch it.
No. I don't, usually
Put
don't
them Back
even
to
know.
the Future real quick.
I've never watched Super Bowl.
Really?
Never.
I kind of get into it.
I watched the one where they had like the '90s gangster rap
Oh,
guys 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
For that reason and that reason only. It was like
the halftime show.
Eminem,
Snoop
Dre,
Dogg,
Dr.
yeah,
Dre,
yeah,
Upside Down 50 Cent.
Yeah.
That's you throw those guys on there. I'll watch it. At least the halftime show.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I wasn't good at sports, and you know I tried, but I was like totally disinterested, and I just wasn't fun, and I didn't. Except for G.I. Joe did have like 80s G.I. Joe action figure line. Had a William the Refrigerator Perry action figure.
Is he a football?
He was a
linebacker?
Yeah, age gap difference here. Yeah. He was a football guy for the Bears in the 1980s. He was a big deal.
Okay.
They released an action figure of him.
Okay.
So that was my one and only still connection to football.
That was it.
That's okay.
But then you got skateboarding though.
So I found skateboarding.
Yeah.
Jason. That was way too long of a sidebar.
Yeah, that's all right. We like the sidebars.
But yeah, so I discovered skateboarding, and that like immediately gave me something else. You know, like suddenly the desire to like fit in or like be good at football or sports, like suddenly that was sidelined. You know,
Out the window.
Suddenly I didn't care.
Yeah.
Because I had this skateboard thing. And so we'd start to ride through the neighborhood and like started riding at longer distances, and then I started meeting some other kids in the neighborhood that skateboarded, and then one of them had like a Tony Hawk board.
Nice.
And I didn't know that anybody existed with that cool of a name.
Yeah.
And when I saw the graphic, it was the original like Tony Hawk. It was like it's like a chicken skull with like
Right.
iron cross behind it, and
That's a sick design.
it's such a sick design.
So sick.
Yeah, like just again, it was like these immediate connections to something that skateboarding offered.
Yeah.
And then like I got my first copy of Thrasher magazine, and it was like I was submerged into this entire subculture I didn't know existed.
Right.
There was music, there was this like a style of dress, there was like an attitude, there was like you embraced
some lingo.
Yeah,
Right?
Lingo.
It had its own language.
Yeah,
man.
man.
He was over here showing me some words. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, man.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like a subculture where suddenly you didn't care if you weren't good at football. You embraced it. You know, you were like stoked. I suck at football, but I'm really good, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about your football. So I got a skateboard to ride. So it was cool. Like it gave me an identity. Like basically, it's an identity.
Yeah.
Or at least it was for me then. Like it really, you know, I started wearing like skate clothes and, you know, talking like a skater.
Oh yeah.
And then like reading Thrasher, and then, you know, all prior to the age of YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just skateboarding. And also I will say this, like when I was really good, like 90s or whatever, when I was kind of at my like skateboarding prime, I still skate, but I'm like older now, so I take it easy. You know, I don't
For sure.
I still have a solid pop though. My ollie is still pretty solid.
Let's go do it right now.
I'll do it. My ollie is still pretty solid, but back then it was pretty good, and it really pushed me in so many different ways, and like it taught me so many lessons, like I had camaraderie with these dudes, my homies, and it taught me like a healthy level of competition. I'm like, oh, sick. Tom just ollied that handrail.
Yeah.
And Tom and I are neck and neck.
Now you got to beat him.
And I gotta at least even it up.
Yeah.
I gotta bring it up. I gotta match it. And so it was like a really cool, healthy way of like self-esteem and just, I think, pushing one another to be like the best you could be.
Better.
And then also just like when if you skate, like you fall a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you eat crap, like you over and over and over
That's
again.
probably why I stay away from it. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm terrible at skateboarding. That's
I've
all.
got so many scars on my
That's all.
legs.
Exactly right
same.
there.
Yeah, my whole right arm right here is scarred because I'd always fall on the right side of my body.
Dang.
But it was just like it just taught you, like skateboarding. It's like it puts you in a school and teaches you all these lessons. And one of the biggest lessons was just like learning through repetition and then taking hard falls and getting back up and doing it again, and just mastery through repetition. And yeah, man. And then just letting, the thing about skateboarding is like, that it really taught me is just like things are going to happen in life. Skateboarding, getting on a skateboard and just riding was one of the things that like everything else just drowns out. All the other noise drowns out. It's like I've got this. I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah,
I can skate. I'm gonna be okay. So everything else just kind of vanishes away. It's cool.
While you ride, huh?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
that is so sick.
Yeah, so skateboarding has given me so much, and obviously, then you talk about like, as an adult, it's helped. It's provided a career for me in doing skateboard graphics. Particularly like in the last 10 years is when I really have, submerged myself in that and been working in the skateboard industry.
Yeah, because we have seen your graphics and they are awesome.
Thanks.
They are
man.
so good.
Thanks.
We're gonna put a whole bunch of them right here right in front of our faces because that's what we like to see when we came here to talk about. Like your art is so good.
Yeah, thank you.
And like we even showed how to show off our boss's skateboard he got from you.
Oh yeah,
signed and everything.
Yeah, I was honored.
Yeah, hanging up on the wall and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then what are some of your favorite ones of his?
Oh, my favorite one that you've done so far is the Frankenstein one from the series 1 on Super 8.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That one's my favorite.
And shout out to Super 8. Those guys.
Super 8.
Yeah, they were. I got to give them a lot of credit for helping me build like my portfolio of boards.
Yeah.
Like, and like they were at a point where they kind of needed an entire look. They had a couple boards out by other artists and kind of something started, but when they let me work on this whole series of monster boards, like it really, I think it did a lot for me. It did a lot for them. It was a very. It helped us both out a lot, and as is some of my best work. Yeah. So, yeah, those are fun graphics that stand the test of time.
Were those your choice to do like the Universal monsters and stuff like that, and the Halloween style ones?
Well, classic monster. We'll say classic monsters. Universal.
I don't know if we could say that.
But yeah, well, he was like Chad, the owner, is very, very into monsters and pop culture, and so. I think we both loved Frankenstein and monsters. And so I was just like, he was just like, go crazy, let's do a series of monsters and see where this goes. And so just kept going with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kept going with that. And I've continued to do graphics for them. And they recently rebooted. They were gone for a couple years, but they're back up and selling new boards. So there's a lot of new designs that I had done that they hadn't gotten out yet that are now dropping. So
that's cool. Yeah. So didn't they just recently drop a new one?
Several. Yeah. There was a cool like shark style comic style shark one that I did that turned out really good. Yeah.
So are you a big fan of Halloween as well? Because you got a couple like Halloween graphics too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Halloween as a holiday, and then Halloween as a franchise.
Yeah.
Absolutely love. Yeah. I don't even really do
Mike Myers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I don't even really like slasher movies. Like like I tried to watch Terrifier, and I was like 6.5 minutes in. I was like, I'm gonna tap out. At
I
this
watched
point.
one clip where the action was going on. I was like, I can't stomach this.
Yeah, that one's a weird one.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Not into that.
It's just weird gore porn for no reason.
That's wasn't into that, but like something about Michael Myers. There's something about the aesthetic of just that blank white expressionless face and those hollow eyes. Like I'm so into that.
Captain Kirk's white face.
Exactly. The Captain Kirk mask painted white, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, you should probably do a board of that. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. If I could sneak an unlicensed one.
Right.
Bootleg by.
Yeah. Because I noticed one of your boards is like the space horror creature. Really cool one, but No, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yes, good eye.
Yeah.
Just coincidentally look similar.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, what got you into doing like graphics for decks? Did you start that like on your own as kind of like a hobby, and then it spiraled into a career?
I was at a crucial point in my life. I was working a day job that I was less than excited about.
For sure. Yeah.
Yep. Been there.
So much less than excited about, but it provided, and worked with good people, and it did what it needed it to do.
It paid the bills.
It paid the bills,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like stay up till 2 a.m. just drawing stuff.
Oh,
I was
okay.
running on
Yeah.
I was running on fumes, but it's like I had to make rad stuff the
Yeah.
night before. If I'm gonna get up and go to this day job,
Yeah.
I'm gonna suffer from lack of sleep, but at least I'll have like confidence knowing that I made some rad stuff the night
Yeah.
before that I'm
Yeah.
super stoked on, because I'm
Yeah.
gonna be designing forms for the
Yeah.
rest for 8 hours the next day.
Heck yeah.
So anyways, so I discovered and got on Instagram in 2015, and that was like shortly after it birthed, and I was like, this is cool, and I just discovering social media.
I think that was before hashtags were a thing.
Yeah, probably.
People were just posting pictures. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and here's how it happened. Like I hadn't skated for a long time, and then I ran into my buddy Dan Butler, and
Shout out Dan.
Shout out to Dan. And he was running the Fort Wayne Indoor Skate Park then.
Oh,
he had
okay.
restarted that.
Wait, is it the one off Anthony?
Yes, it is now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been in various
Oh,
locations, but that's where it's at
really?
now. And Dan Butler runs that. And
Nice.
Donnie Manco, the famed Fort Wayne tattoo artist, I think he's the one that started it, and then Butler took it over. So he connected with me, and he's like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing some like flyers or some T-shirts design?" And I was so stoked. I was just like,
Yeah.
And I had started. I got a board. I was 37 at the time.
Yeah.
And so I got a board, and I just started skating again.
Nice.
Like a lot of things in life are kind of falling apart.
It happens.
Marriage was falling apart.
Yeah.
Job was falling apart.
Yeah.
But there was skateboarding
Yeah.
as this catalytic instrument of hope that
Yes.
kind of came back to me at that
Heck
crucial
yeah.
moment, dude. And so, so I started skating again, started hanging out with some old buddies that had some stuff going on in the skate scene. And so, I did flyers, did shirts for those guys. And then, like I said, Nick from Rise at the time, he reached out. Maybe I reached out, I don't know, but we were like, well, let's do some boards. So I did a couple designs for him.
Yeah.
And then it was just everything built on top of
Yeah.
itself. And so I would post this stuff to Instagram, and got really good responses, and started building my, building an audience slowly.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a lot of podcasts, probably 2016 through 2019, just about career and just how to make career shifts,
Right.
how to do this art thing full time, how to believe in yourself,
Yeah.
how to figure things, just trying to figure things out. I'm like, oh, and then I watched Fight Club, dude. Right after I turned 40.
Great
Dude,
movie.
right after I turned 40, I watched the movie Fight Club. I had
Yeah.
never seen it before.
Yeah.
And there was something about that movie that put like a fire under my butt.
Yeah.
That opening
Nice.
sequence where he goes, this is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
And then when he almost kills that Raymond guy because he's working at a convenience store and he wanted to be what is it called? A guy who works on pets, veterinarian.
Yeah.
Like he puts a gun to his head and he says, if you're not on your way to becoming a veterinarian in 3 months, I'm going to come back and murder you.
Yeah.
And there is something about that.
do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, man.
You know?
There was something about that just connected with me on such a deep level.
Yeah.
And so all those things. And then I just started, and then, like my buddy Dan Butler, he connected me with some friends out in California, the Creature guys.
Oh, yeah.
So I did some work for them. And then it's like I started doing work for some other companies that I skated when I was really young and in high school, like 8th Street and Tony Magnuson.
That's cool.
Nice.
So 14, 15-year-old Tim is geeking out.
Yeah.
Big time, And so, it just kept building. And so Plan B, Birdhouse, Tony Hawk. And so I've worked for a lot of the major and Techne Skateboards, Super8, we talked about them. So it's been a joy. It's been so much fun. And it's been I don't know, it's been that kind of work where your soul just you know,
Feels good.
deep
Feels
breathe.
good.
It's just like
Yeah.
a deep breath of life.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is
so
sick.
I love doing it. I've been super stoked to do it. And then when I got the first Tony Hawk job, that was some serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet
like
that was
sixth
awesome.
grade Tim, who had built his entire identity off of Tony Hawk's haircut.
He was screaming.
You know?
Yeah, I see.
You know,
I think
dude.
you have that picture on
Yeah.
your page, don't you?
Yeah.
I do.
yeah.
And, like, yeah, it was such an honor, man. So
Yeah.
And
I've
that one sold out completely, didn't it?
yeah. I think all the ones that I've done
So-
have sold out, which
Yeah,
has
because
been
then you also
awesome.
did the Hawk and the versus Wolf.
Hawk
right?
versus Wolf, I
Yeah.
believe those
That one
those
sold
sold.
out,
And,
too.
yeah, so it's cool to see them on the secondary market on eBay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
That's crazy.
sure.
yeah, so it's a huge honor.
Yeah.
And like, I still haven't met Tony in person.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't. I've DM'd with him a couple times,
Uh-huh.
but he just seems like as cool a dude as
Yeah.
he
Some of
seems
the stuff
on,
I've seen, he seems
That's what
like
I've
a really
heard.
very
dope
down
guy.
to earth. And then he
Yeah.
recommended such an honor. Like he recommended me to HGTV for they did an episode of the Property Brothers.
Right.
It was Celebrity IOU, where they fixed Tony Hawk's buddies, his editor's studio up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they presented boards to the Property Brothers, or the Scott Brothers, the
Yeah,
Property
yeah.
Brothers, and he recommended me to do the illustrations for
That's
them.
awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's really sick.
So that was like, and so I was like, it was really cool. I was sitting there with my dad and my brother. We were watching the episode together. It was so surreal. It was really cool. So I'm
Yeah.
super grateful
Wow.
for all the opportunities and everybody that's helped me along the way. So,
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can't do that all that on your own.
No, you
So,
can't.
That's super awesome.
That is so cool. And then now here you are doing covers for Grommets.
Yeah.
That is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super stoked.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and tell us, how did this come about? You know?
So Craig, the owner of the Arcade Comics,
Love
Yeah,
Craig.
we love
Craig's
Craig.
a good
Love
dude,
Craig.
fun guy.
Yeah.
According to him, he was just standing in the shower, and the idea came
We're
to him.
not going to put a picture of that.
And the idea came to him like lightning.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like,
Yeah.
why aren't I doing a store exclusive cover with Tim Barron
Why not?
doing the artwork for it?
Yeah.
And
So did you guys know each other beforehand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have done
Oh.
a lot of events with
Okay.
Arcade
Mm-hmm.
and great guys. They've been very supportive and very encouraging, and
That's cool.
had me out several times to do signings and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
And I've rated their $1.50 boxes many times
Yeah.
over the years and
Mm-hmm.
gotten a lot of cool stuff. So, yeah. So
So Craig contacted you in the shower.
yes, yes, he did, and I was just like, yeah, sign me up. This sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah.
And and it's a great book too,
Dude,
Like,
Yeah, have you read through it?
I've read through the first 2 or 3 issues.
Yeah.
I haven't
Oh,
read through
man.
I haven't caught up on
Yeah.
the other ones, but it's like they've got skateboarding in the 80s down. Like there's
Yeah.
so many Easter eggs. And,
It's so fun. It's my favorite series right now. For
Is
sure.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
and
I believe I'm caught up on it as well. I'm not even into game, but it's a really down to earth and awesome, like just fun comic
Yeah.
series.
yeah, they really capture the essence of like what it was like.
Yeah.
Living in the 80s and 90s, yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
if you were a skateboarder, you weren't a cool dude.
You were an outcast from everybody. And,
Yeah.
and it emphasizes on that, like, nobody
Yeah.
likes you, but it's pretty much exactly what you described. You have your own crew, your own people.
Yeah.
And that's just what the whole comics is all about.
Yeah.
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 See, by the time I got into skateboarding, it was at the point where if you skateboarded, you were cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think X Games, and that's
Yeah, the
great.
X Games, Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
think X Games, and then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater definitely.
oh, yeah.
The
Oh,
video
yeah.
games
Mhm.
put it into the cultural zeitgeist
Yeah.
as a more
Mainstream.
positive, mainstream,
right.
cool thing. So
Because before it was like skateboard hooligans, get
Yeah.
them out of here.
Yeah. Because we were always, like growing up, we would skate at Northwood Plaza. there was a
kidding.
bank over there, and then
Yeah.
there was Taco Bell, and like the jocks and their girlfriends hung out in the Taco Bell parking lot.
Yeah.
And we would be skating over at the bank, and
What?
they would always yell things at us.
Oh my gosh.
A couple of times there was like altercations and whatnot.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
kidding.
That's
But,
funny. Just
yeah,
like in
that's
Grommets.
what it
Just
was
like in Grommets.
Just like in
yeah.
Grommets.
Oh, my
Literally had
goodness.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
They skipped out on school, went to go to Taco Bell, went to the mall.
Yep.
Just had a good old time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the books I've read have been great, and the artwork is friggin' gorgeous. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
writing is
It's so
spot
good.
on.
Oh, yeah.
There is a scene in the first issue brilliantly written, and it's the scene where
Bales.
yes,
Yeah.
and it shows the entire evolutionary history of the little rock
Yes.
that
was so
eventually
good.
becomes the rock that he hits, and then just
That was one of the
gets
best
obliterated.
things I've ever seen.
That's perfect storytelling with no words or no nothing
Yeah.
right there. It's so great. I love that. Yeah.
I mean, because the phenomenon is called the rock fart in skateboarding. Is when you hit the rock and the rock stops your skateboard and you proceed to eat shit.
Yep.
That's called the rock fart because it makes a fart noise. When it drags, it hits the rock. The rock makes the wheel hitting that makes a little, like a fart noise, and then you proceed to almost die. And,
and I believe that character did almost die because that image of his face.
that was gnarly.
Yeah.
The brace is all messed up.
Did you see that? I forget if it was Rick or Brian, but that actually happened to one of them. I forget which one it was, but yeah, it was like the first issue was based off of like real events from
that's
their
awesome.
childhoods. And I thought that was pretty cool. But he said
That's
that
so awesome.
did happen. He had the braces coming out of his mouth.
I can't even imagine. See, that's why I don't skateboard. I'm sorry. Like, you guys be all cool all you want, but I cannot. I'm not gonna risk it for the biscuit. All right.
Yeah, like I said, I take it easy these days. But back in the day.
Yeah. But that's so sick. But yeah, you have not one, not two, but like five covers you've done.
Yeah. Craig came up with the idea in the shower. It was one issue in, and so we had already. So the first issue had already been printed.
Yeah.
And so he had the idea. Let's start with issue 3 and go all the way through 8.
Yeah.
Which I think is the final.
Yeah, there's one more coming.
And so we did those, and every one of them, it was pretty rad. Like I haven't done comic related stuff in close to 10 years. Like I did several graphic novels back in like around 2010 and 2015. Like I did several graphic novel comic related projects, just independent stuff that I on my own, just for fun, just because I had it inside of me that I really wanted to do. And so I hadn't done comic book stuff for a while, and so the covers were like such a great, and because what made it so awesome is because it was like the perfect Venn diagram of all these things Tim loves, and it's it's like comics, skateboarding, and then working the styles of artists whose work I loved. Like this image right here was a total homage to the original Bones Brigade graphics. There was a board design in the inside of the comic that was very similar to this. And I was like, that's freaking brilliant. Let me draw that in the style of V.C. Johnson, for Vincent Court Johnson, who did all the original Tony Hawk and Bones Brigade, Paul Peralta graphics. So that's what I did. And so so this is like basically the Mike McGill Snake and Skull, the Tommy Guerrero Flames, the Per Wellander Viking. It's 100%.
It's just Skater.
Yeah.
That's so
So it
cool.
was such a cool convergence of so many things
I
I
love
love.
hearing the breakdown of this. This is so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the cover I did for issue 4 was a total homage to like one of the greatest like punk hardcore bands of all time, Minor Threat.
The cover where they're all sitting on the porch.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you look at I think it was the album Salad Days. I think it was like a 7-inch record. And it was just such an iconic cover, and I'm like, right there, like that needs to be spoofed for this. And it's just like every one of them just worked really, really perfectly because there's all this nostalgia and skateboarding nostalgia inside of me that I'm. And so like when I was working on each of those, I bought a bunch of old issues of Thrasher magazine off of eBay, just as like reference.
Get some inspiration. Yeah.
That's cool.
Because there's something about entering back into those early days and those very things that inspired me as a 5th grader.
Right.
Looking at them now, many moons later, I don't know. It just, and like sometimes it'll just comes to you, you know. And and so for the cover of, I think it was my buddy Aaron Manier, who's also he's a comic book artist, one of the best I know. Fort Wayne, he did Black Rose. Shout
out Aaron.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron, great guy. Has talked me off the creative ledge many a times.
Yeah.
Like I'll get a text from me in the middle of the day, and I'm just like, here you go, Tim again. But no, there's one cover, and maybe you'll flash it on the screen or whatever. But it's a big skull, and it's. There you go. And it's one dude inside the eyeball doing a kickflip. And like he was just like, you should do a big skull, and they're skating on the inside of it, and one of them's doing a kickflip or something like that. And I'm like, that would be sick. And so I did it. And so got to give credit where credit is due there. But yeah. So every one of the covers I tried to make homage to something. And like
that's cool.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what the whole thing of Grommets is. It's all just homage and nostalgia to skateboarding.
Yeah. And it just put me in the mindset of what I was like as a 6th grader. You know what I'm saying? Drawing little rat bones and little anarchy symbols on my desk, you know, in school.
Yeah.
So,
that's freaking sick.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was a challenge, and I was super stoked to work on each one of them. Each one of those covers very much has its own personality. So,
heck yeah. Now, would you see yourself doing another comic series? You know, maybe in the future?
I would be way more inclined to be like a cover artist.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that I have the patience to do interior work. Maybe I would, maybe like a short story or something like that. I'd be up for that. But if I did, I would have to read the scripts very early in the morning. Like I think what drove me crazy is when working off of scripts is there's just so much detail and fine print, and like the graphic novels and comics that I did. Yeah. I basically did them the old Marvel way. Okay. And where I had 95% of the art done, and then I gave them to my buddy Ben, and he reverse scripted them and did a beautiful job. Oh wow. Yeah, I did one called The Life and Times of Julius Destructus, and then I did a Krampus, 'Twas the Night Before Krampus, and I did these He-Man knockoff books called Mummitor and the Conquerors of the Cosmos, and Frankenstein and the Conquerors of the Cosmos. They were really fun. Just black and white. But I don't know how good I would do following detailed instructions with professional scripts. So, but covers, I'm 100% there. That would be much more, because I'm much more of a, I started working. I do a lot of poster art, so I would consider myself a poster artist as well. So that very much lends itself to the cover. You know, right. I would love that. That would be fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if this is like common knowledge yet. So I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
Doing a skateboard with the Grommets cover, is that a thing that's happening?
Oh, dude. I mean, I would love for that to happen.
Yeah. Okay. So not officially.
Not officially, but I am 100% into that. I've got a guy who prints my boards for me. Yeah. Splattergoat. Yeah. Shout out to Splattergoat. And he did the boards for the HGTV, the Property Brothers show. Okay. He's come through for me many a times. Yeah. So he's locked and loaded, man.
Ready to go.
If we get permission, I didn't want to bootleg, print them without Rick Remender's permission or whatnot. Right. But totally into that idea.
That'd be so sick.
That'd be cool if it ever happens.
Yeah.
Heck, we might even have a lunar skateboard come out here soon.
That's awesome. Yeah. Your warehouse would be a perfect place to set up a few ramps, and
we did actually. We had people.
Really?
No, yeah, we have skaters here, and we've had people, skate and whatnot. But one person
just takes on
liability.
One person kind of ruined it for everybody else.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they get hurt?
Yeah.
Okay.
He ended up in a little arm sling.
Dude,
his arm
he doesn't even work here anymore.
It was on a scooter too.
Was it on a scooter?
Poser.
Oh.
Yeah, it was on Jacob's little scooter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this place used to be cool. Not anymore.
Scooter kids.
Yeah. God dang it. I know. I think, did we touch base on everything here? I think so.
Talk a little more.
A little bit. We talk about a little bit of anything. So,
being a big skateboarder, what was it like skateboarding here in Fort Wayne, like during the height of skateboarding?
It was an awesome scene. It was a great scene here. From the minute I started skating, I found like a group of friends in my neighborhood that skated, and that like taught me the ways, and learned tricks.
Yeah.
And then like I was like 5th, 6th grade, and then 8th grade, it's like we kind of started venturing out into like the downtown area, which was totally different back then. I mean, it was like nobody hung out at downtown except for like homeless people and skateboarders.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there still is homeless people there.
What's that?
There still is homeless people there.
True. But this is true. But like all the punk rockers and all the skateboarders would hang out at Freeman Square, and they'd go to this place called Sunset Reception Hall every weekend where there was shows. Yeah. And somebody actually made a documentary about it in the music scene in Fort Wayne. I think it's called This Place Rocked.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Darren Hunt made that good documentary, and so it was a cool scene in terms of like music and in terms of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how, but I was like in 7th and 8th grade meeting like cool punk rock goth chicks, like in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
You met chicks?
1989, 1990s.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Can I still say chicks?
Is that allowed?
Girls.
I mean, yeah.
Girls.
Women. Yeah, sure, yeah.
But it was, there was a cool.
We're gonna get him canceled.
Cancel. I know, it's all over.
Yeah, done.
But yeah, it was great. And every new place that we ventured, like we would meet new circles of people, of pockets of people would connect.
Oh,
and it was like when I started like going down, like I started hanging out with a buddy in high school who skated with a bunch of skaters from Southside. And so met there, met them. And then it just continued to grow.
Yeah.
And one thing that's really cool, just being, decades removed from that, is that skateboarding for so many of these people that I still keep in contact with has been such an anchor point for them. Like when life goes off track, like, skateboarding is always the thing that they look back to with very fond memories and being like, those were such good days.
Right.
And sometimes, even pick up skating again. Like I still skate with several friends that I grew up with, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, love it.
Heck yeah.
Did you ever get into like longboarding, or was it just skateboarding?
No, I got my daughter a longboard a few years ago.
Yeah.
To me, it's such a departure from what I'm used to.
Yeah.
I like to stay with the traditional trick board.
Yeah.
But I could see why people liked them, but it was just such a different feel for me.
I feel like it's more for cruising.
Just cruising.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's cool. So when did they open up the skate park here in Fort Wayne?
Oh, Lawton?
Yeah.
That was 2005, I think.
Yeah.
So I think
Tony Hawk came to town.
I was gonna say because Tony Hawk showed up
And Bam.
Yeah,
Bam was there too. Yeah, Bam was there too. Yeah. There's a whole YouTube video of it. Like
it's on there somewhere.
Yeah, it's on there. So you gotta dig for it. Yeah, but it's there. I've seen it. Really bad quality though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't meet him then?
No, I was
dang it.
I was kind of in a cultural coma at that point. I had kids,
really?
married and kids, working full time, and I wasn't skating. I was still thinking about fantasizing about skating.
He was a normal citizen.
Dude. I would always think about doing I'd always think about doing tricks at the place that I worked, like in between the cubicles, do like, like a big pop shove at tail grab and kind of kick my foot off the cubicle wall. Like I'd always be thinking about it.
That's
cool.
And it was funny at one point, I even, like when I started skating again, like I would skate a board real good and solid, and then I would smuggle it into my cubicle.
Yeah.
And sometimes while I was sitting there designing forms, like I would put it underneath my feet.
Yeah.
It's just like a little momentary escape, dude.
Yeah.
Feel the stoke while I'm doing this mundane thing.
That is sick.
That's cool though. That's cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I think we're running out of time actually with our camera memory. How long has it been?
53 minutes.
53 minutes and whatnot. Well, I'm not sure how much memory's on the phone.
I see.
That's all. Yeah, because I would hate for it to cut short and then not even have an outro and whatnot. But do you have anything else you would like to say?
I was going to ask if you've skated the skate park yet.
Yeah.
The indoor or the Lawton?
The Lawton.
Yeah, I did, and both times I left bleeding.
Oh,
like I said, I know my
Me too.
I know my limits. In my late 40s, I know my limits, and I'm like, I just like to go skate my old neighborhood.
Yeah.
Sometimes find a parking curb, do blunt slides on the parking curb, and nose slides. And, and just skate long. Like I'll skate I've got a path that I do in my old neighborhood, and I'll skate between 2.5 to 3.5 miles.
Yeah.
When I do it, And to me, that's just like, that's great. But like anything rampy, it makes me a little bit nervous now.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Man, that is so cool. Dude, this is pretty much just it. I think we've touched bases on everything that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to send off with?
Yeah. I mean, feel free to, follow me on my Instagram, which is at Tim Barron Art, TimBaronArt. Tim Barron Art. Catch up with me, my website, timbarron.com.
Got an Etsy page too?
Etsy page. Yep. If you just go to the store on my website, timbarron.com, click on the store or the Etsy, and it'll take you there. So
awesome.
Yeah. And I've got a lot of cool skateboarding related materials, or just Google Tim Barron Etsy and it'll come right up.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. We didn't even talk about your toys.
Oh yeah.
The toys. Oh my gosh. How do we forget about the toys? I was just thinking
Yeah.
about the shop and everything. Like he's got awesome toys that he did with Super 8.
Super 7.
Super 7. Oh, sorry.
Super 7
one.
and
Super
Super 8.
Skateboard Super 7.
A little confused. Yeah, Super 7 or the reaction
we
toys.
We did 4 waves of the Astro Zombie figure.
Yes.
All sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was a real honor to work with them. And I designed some other things for them, like the They Live figures and the...
And then you also did, I think of Crawls and Ghoulies, right? And that was on Goldberg's.
Yes, Ghoulies.
Yes.
I was thinking you said Goonies.
Yeah.
Yes, those were just like bootleg things
Right.
I sculpted and
Yeah.
then cast in resin.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that was on the Goldbergs.
Yes,
I
that's
had
that.
several pieces on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that was fun. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
So I
we
can come
go.
back sometime and talk more about the toys because that's an
Yeah.
adventure unto itself.
Okay, then. But
Yeah, we'll have you as a regular.
Yeah, we'll
You
love
guys
to
are
have you
fun.
come back.
You guys are fun
I
to
could
talk
sit
to.
here and
So-
talk about
awesome.
skateboarding all day.
Same.
So.
Yeah, I can sit here and talk about comics all day and everything, and toys. So yeah, we would love to have you come back. That'd be
Yeah,
so
I'll
awesome.
geek out as long as you want me to.
Awesome. That's so cool. All right, Tim Barron, thank you so much for joining us today on The Brave and the Bold. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching. You guys have been great. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.